Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, here with a review of Sekai no Hakaisha Decado in his complete form. The Destroyer of Worlds is once again, much like D-End, it's Decade with a new torso, head, belt, and a new set of shoulders. However, he rocks this look pretty well once you can get over, the fact of what complete form looks like. And the real money of this figure is in that very look. Basically, in lieu of coming with a cardboard sheet of cards to cut out all by yourself, they took the liberty of cutting out the cards for us, and affixing them to his chest. As you can see, these are very much identical to the cards that came with the original Decade figure art, only they've been touched up slightly, perhaps flattened out, and set into his armor. And up here on his head is one brand new card, that crazy Infinity Mobius effect zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in card of Decade Complete. And he also still has compound eyes, much like every figure art I've shown you thus far. I really just like pointing it out because it kinda gets me going. Also worth noting is down here, the K-Touch is fairly detailed, especially compared to the Deca Driver. So that's a minor victory this toy has over his predecessor. Although, really the victory is made a little bit less impressive when you realize he is primarily black and silver and maybe just a little touch of pink up top. So, that is what Decade Complete looks like, and if this doesn't work for you, then the show's suit didn't work for you. On the bright side, this guy's not all that bulky, and if, as I said, you can deal with how Decade Complete looks, then you can really deal with how this guy looks. He's just as posable as the original Decade. His shoulders aren't limited at all like DN's. So, as far as a figure art goes, posability-wise, he is everything that you want. It's also worth noting that his copy of the Deca Driver appears to be the same as the one that's molded on Decade's belt, only it's been removed and affixed to the side of his belt. And almost mockingly, it's once again been left bereft of little dots around the ring. So that's a big shame, and unfortunately something I do still hold against this fig art release, as well as his predecessor. However, while carrying over all the great posability, his accessory count is lessened slightly, but only slightly, and that's only if you count all those cards as accessories. He comes with the other versions of the Ride Booker, as well as the fists, holding things hands, and open hands of his predecessor. But he has 3 new hands! Also, all of his hands have the silver painted on top, but otherwise are identical molds. These new hands include 2 different hands for holding the K-Touch, and a right hand for poking the K-Touch. You see, up here on his belt, the K-Touch is mounted in place, yes. However, it can be removed quite easily by popping it off and leaving it in your waiting, nerdy fingertips. And then, swapping the hands, as always, is anything but a hassle. And, I really like that they included these new hands on this guy. It adds to the feeling that you're getting, more than just the physical body remolds. You're getting some new hands. It feels just a bit less repainty for something that is highly repainty by nature. And, overall, I think it's a very effective touch. I'm glad the K-Touch gets this much attention. It could have easily just been a throwaway accessory. Just try to stuff it into one of the open hands. There you go, fanboys. Hope you're happy. But, you can actually have Decade hold onto the thing with a pretty good grip. I just always forget which way it should be oriented, but, it's 21st century technology. He can hold it however he wants. And then you can have him epically, wide-leggedly touching his K-Touch. And basically, that's the gist of this toy's uniqueness. He is able to very rapidly enter codes on his little PDA thing. Aside from that, he really is more or less another Decade. I suppose the large shoulder armor makes it a little bit difficult for him to reach his arms around his chest. But once you're finished with all that, he really is just Decade with some new bits. There's nothing else to show off here, so I guess I'll just say that overall, if you're a Decade completist, then you probably already are getting this guy. I don't think there's anyone out there who truly adores this design, so if you are one of those people, please leave a comment or even a video response detailing just how Decade Complete does it for you. And I guess the only thing I can say is, If you are buying this guy out of obligation, rest assured that he is a very effective SHFiguarts release. Maybe of a design you don't particularly care for, but all aesthetic opinions aside, he is a very good figure. And really, that's the pat on the back I have to give to all 3 Decade Figuarts. They were cranked out while the show was still on the air, and all 3 of them are, at the very least, decent Figuart releases. Decade is overall excellent, D-End is somewhat lacking but still pretty good, and Decade Complete is quite solid as far as Decade Complete goes. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. I hope this day of SHFiguarts Week has brought you on a pleasant trip through the dimensions, and to the doorstep of the final day of our own journey this week. Ladies and gentlemen, you've come with me this far, and let me assure you that I feel no fear and no pain.